Thank you, Stevens, for that very interesting talk. We'll be taking it over from our Abuja Network studio. Still on the stampede that's happened at the weekend and last week, Wednesday, where we lost about 67 persons in total when you look at Anambra, Abuja, and the FCT. It's very worrisome. This is not the first time we're having issues of stampede where persons have lost life trying to kick what people refer to as palliative. And that has always been a concern. But how do we begin to get relevant agencies, Nigeria, and begin to regulate how we go about things like this, so we don't have to lose lives simply because people are trying to either make a living or trying to looking at the harsh economic situation we find ourselves due to races by the current administration. Everybody will tell you that hunger was the reason why we have that large numbers of people trying to get palliative from different groups who organize those things. Crowd control is what we're looking at from Abuja, and I have two very important guests who are joining me here. I'll start with, we have a former commissioner of police, a retired commissioner of police, is already stand by, Rabi Ladodo. A very good morning to you, Commissioner, sir.
Yes, good morning to you and good morning to Nigeria.
Okay, and I have joining me in the studio also, he is the chief of staff to the country regional administration, that is OSHA Association UK Nigeria region. Okay, he'll be telling us more about his safety experts joining me this morning. Harrison Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let me begin with the CP. He has been on long time. Now, CP, what was your reaction immediately you heard about these three incidents that happened in Nigeria? One is the Lost States, and then the FCT.
Yes, this is very sad. I felt very, very, very bad. You see, human, look at human. Look number lost on things that the government Nigerians have to do with the harsh economy that we are facing. But to a picture of occurrence, in my own opinion, there are some measures to be taken. One of which is crowd control. But crowd control here have to do with security agencies, police. But it's not the issue of one crowd is already formed. You now invite police. Police may not do much in such a situation. What you do is, there is one belief we have in security about crowd control. You make sure crowd meet crowd controllers, not crowd controllers meeting crowd. If a crowd is already formed, lawful or unlawful, the policemen may not do much. So when people, church, mosque, individual, companies, government that intend to distribute such economic needs, that need to inform police early enough. The police here is expected to do what we call dominating control. Dominating control is where police will make early deployment, very early, to take positions, liaise with the authority of the church or mosque or company or government, so that the policemen will now do their deployment the way that people, the crowd will now meet. You know, psychologically, when people start arriving and they see police on ground, already in positions, psychologically, they are expected, they will behave. All
right, let me just hold your thoughts there while I get Harrison to respond to this. very incidences. What was your take, you being a safety expert? What do you think really went wrong? You saw the CP said there were no adequate preparation, especially having enforcement officers on ground on time.
Exactly, because I would like to speak from the safety perspective. It is very evident and visible and clear that there was no emergency preparedness in that whole scenario. So you understand the situation of the economy in the country, but this boils down to how much of safety advocacy is needed. The citizens, the beneficiaries and even the benefactors have a lot more understanding needed to actually know what safety means, how to do some certain things that will not cause loss of body parts and even death like we recorded. So it is very clear now that safety needs to be driven down to the grassroots. Nobody intends to go out to actually become injured or even get to the point of losing his or her life. We understand that they actually went out for daily a source of income or things that can actually put food on the table. But their intention was actually not to get injured. But if adequate safety measures were put in place, this would have actually reduced the number of fatalities that would have recorded.
So apart from the security area the CP talked about, what other measures, safety measures you think organizations or individuals should put on ground? This way you have such a large numbers of persons coming for.
This goes a long way now to let us understand how best safety practices are done in the civilized world, on the what we call the Western world. Now, when you gather some group of persons or some group of crowds are formed, in safety, there's something called trip, slip, and fall. So when somebody is on the floor and then another person steps on the injured person or the person on the floor, that is what is considered as a stampede. Now, if emergency preparedness is well adequately planned, then there should be some place designated for formation of the crowd. Sorting should be done. Men to one side, women, children, infants, and then all the sortings are done adequately. And then whatever form of items you have to share to them, you let them know. Interaction, communication should be done, not on the basis of dragging and fighting like animals. We understand the situation of the country, but there should be safety preparedness for them and also prepare adequately for a synergy, a collaboration between the civil authority and maybe the military or paramilitary, and then the medics also. Some persons must have sustained injury that if they have been attended to at that point in time, it would have reduced the severity of that injury. So it's very important that you prepare and do it the right way.
Okay, let me go back to CP Ragu. Okay, let's look at enforcement here. I know you are a former enforcement, but what does the law say regarding issues like this when you have mass gathering? How do we control them? And then secondly, are there punishments for people who violate such arrangements for a large crowd of persons? You understand that the organizer of the one that happened in Ibadan has been arrested. So what is the implication in terms of enforcement in this regard?
You look at crowd, the nature of the crowd. We have lawful and unlawful. I was trying to explain this issue of the crowd, how it is formed for a successful activity that is managed. Now, coming to penalty, the organizers investigation will prove their intention. Not to forget, they have very good intention of helping people. You now fall back to people. The way they organize themselves, transform scrap probably from lawful to unlawful. If police or any authority is able to make arrest out of the crowd, then you now find fault from the crowd or the people arrested. But care has to be taken in arresting the organizers. Although my co-presenter there mentioned a very vital issue there, that adequate arrangement. If they are guilty for violating things that they're supposed to do before organizing a crowd, then they can be liable. But if their intention wholeheartedly is geared towards helping people, the police investigation or whichever body is investigating the case has to look into it very well. Now, this has happened. I'm more interested in putting measures to make sure that this type of incident does not happen again. Therefore, to me, apart from crime control, there is need now to start investing in distributing such or assistance or handling crowd. I have seen the work of technology in some countries. I have seen it in United Arab Emirates. I've seen it even in Africa, in Addis Ababa. When you have crowd, you technology, you put them in one place with all the honor or being it shared, be it canopy, wherever. You can also invite security agencies. Sure, you know what we are human. That people, organizers are trying to help us for our own good. But we misbehave sometimes. So you can invite security agencies. But technology will control. There will be a machine that everybody will quietly pick a number, sit down, another person pick, then there will be announcement. Number one, go to counter A. Number two, go to social place or whatever. Or if that is still far reach for us, like that church, for example, they can organize a replica to this technology thing. That means they can say female social place, other social place, or anybody they can distribute efforts. Let's say or red or blue or white. You see? So that by the time you are ready to distribute such palliatives, you can say anybody carrying white card should go to social shade. Anybody carrying red should go to social shade, separating them far from each other. By so doing, you are reducing the number of crowd trying to get what they are looking for from one particular center.
Let me bring back Harrison on the issue you just raised there, use of technology, if we can adopt that. We know we've been having problem with our social register where the government has claimed that they have the numbers of the very poor in the society. Look at the cash transfer system, although they've been able to succeed to some extent, even we still have back and front with that process. Is it not possible for the public to have access to such information so that you know that, okay, if I'm distributing palliative to the poor, I should have these particular numbers of people I want, a particular area. Then you just go there and do it, or relate with traditional rulers, because we've seen that those who were really affected are within the urban center. If you go to rural areas where they have traditional system, the traditional will make that announcement on time, and they make the arrangement well. So how do we begin to utilize technology and probably the social register we have in Nigeria to address issues like this?
Okay, for the use of technology, very imperative that we move towards that direction, and that will help a lot. We've had different organizations and parastatals who collect data, but an actual use of it has not actually been in full force. We have data with the banks, we have data with the communication network, we have data with the international people that handles passports and all that. Having this particular data to ensure that the need for the Nigeria is actually in use is very important. Now, taking technology into consideration and using it, you see that there are two different systems that needs to be harmonized. If it were to be in the rural setting, the sorting would have been different. Women go to this side, men this way, because you can't drop a bag of rice and expect a child to pick it first. A mature man will pick it up, and it will result with it. And that's a replica of what happened in many of the other cities that we experienced this stampede. Now, technology would have been easy. Maybe a portal, so date and so time, so venue, this palliative will be shared. You register. If you don't register, you can't get. And then you register, you have your number. You come quietly, this is my number, 00545, they confirm, go to this place, pick up your item, you go home peacefully. Technology has saved a lot, so it's very, very, we move towards that. Look up something or participate in what will cause harm to him or her. And I'm sure nobody came there with the intention of killing anybody, but improper arrangement or poor adequate management of human beings, which we are aware that managing is one of the most difficult things to actually manage in life. Management and preparation to ensure that safety measures are in place is what our any other thing that does not conform to that practice is not safety.
So let's begin to round up this very discussion. So for our brief news with our Benin studio. But let me get your final thoughts. Retired Commissioner of Police, Rabiu. We've seen blame games and exchange trade of words by police and government officials and all that now, because the entire scenario is being around the policies of President Bola Tinubu.
No, we should not look at it. This incident, let's be realistic to ourselves. Look at Anambra and so on. Put all our thoughts aside. This incident are telling to government, politicians, even individuals that indiscipline in Nigeria. I'm sorry to say so. We need to build discipline into ourselves. I could recall many years back, I was still in the force in Nigeria when this indiscipline was introduced. You could recall even policemen in uniform, military in uniform, queue to enter public transport. Look at ordinary transport. You queue in a shop to buy so that provide such policies for Nigerians to be disciplined into everybody. Closely to this is that anybody distributing such palliative assistance or whatever should try to make it adequate. Sometimes we show up, we organize government, may provide few things to gather people to show that yes, the individual is doing something. A member of House of Reps or Senate is distributing this thing, whereas it's not adequate. At the end of it, will cause. The organizers will just cause confusion, which will lead to the end of life. So we have to be very realistic and also decentralized. When things like this. We don't need to put politics into such issues. That yes, my church is very sympathetic. My mosque is a helping mosque. My constituent, I mean, of a particular constituency. I have my people. We need to, I mean, their idea gonna grab the world that is it like they have to grab, not knowing that what was provided there cannot even reach 1% of the ground there. Because we know we are in Nigeria. Once if you are going to distribute bread today, maybe myself it will be there. The bread, I'm telling you, so that we remove politics with decentralized, not showing off that we have gathered people populate. That the church in particular, and I said, you can decentralize that small branches of the same church, not necessarily that you have such
CP, I must thank you for your time. Yes. Thank you so much, this morning, CP, Commissioner of Police, retired Commissioner of Police, thank you for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this very important discussion. Let's begin to get your final thoughts. You hear Commissioner of Police not publicize or make it politics as it stands now. What should we be looking at as a way forward?
The way forward is very simple. Same way for us in the Occupational Safety and Health Association, we always advocate for employers and employee responsibility for safety at workplace. Same can be applied for any item that is to be shared for public use. There should be enlightenment, there should be advocacy, there should be procedures, there should be collaboration or synergies with professional bodies who can advise on best safety measures to actually carry out that activities without having fatalities. We are not even planning death, because in cases where deaths are involved, it's already another form of crowd gathering, like the CP actually said. So we always advocate more on the beneficiaries that are going to wear loose clothes don't actually wear clothes. Things that will cause easily items to fall off, or you being on the floor, you avoid this. So these are responsibilities of both the employer or the beneficiaries and their benefactors, and this will go a long way to reduce injuries and fatalities.
So much for your thoughts this morning. Emekwe, if I get the name, Emekwe
Harris,
as the Chief of Staff to the Country Regional Association of Usher Association, UK, Nigerian region, the safety expert again, as a occupational safety expert. Thank you again for
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I will quickly move over now to our Benin studio for the brief news.